Circulatory system. Name the two fluids that circulate in the body, blood and lymph. Blood contains in the heart and in blood vessels like arteries, veins, and capillaries of the circulatory system. Lymph contained within lymph vessels and lymphatic organs such as spleen and tonsils. In the next question, in the diagrams, we conventionally show veins in blue. What is the actual color of blood flowing through the following? Bright red, but we see as blue. In a color diagram, why do we generally show the pulmonary artery in blue and pulmonary vein in red color? Because pulmonary arteries carry deoxygenated blood and pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood. Next question, name four substances transported by the blood. Transport of digested food from the alimentary canal to the tissues, transport of oxygen from lungs to the tissues, transport of carbon dioxide from the tissues to the lungs, transport of excretory material from the tissues to liver, kidney, or skin for the elimination or to render them harmless. Next question. The yellow colored fluid part of the blood plasma, the respiratory pigment contained in RBCs, hemoglobin, the any two organelles absent in mature RBCs, endoplasmic reticulum and nucleus, the process of WBC squeezing out through the walls of blood capillaries, diaphoresis. Next question. Mention the following. Average lifespan of RBCs about 120 days. Range of RBCs per millimeter cube in a normal adult female. Between 4 to 5 million millimeter cube. Next, the two major categories of WBCs, granulocytes and non-granulocytes. Next, blood vessels involved in leukemia, white blood corpuscles. Next question. Ventricles have dash walls when compared with those of auricles, thick muscular walls. Ventricles give rise to large blood vessels called pulmonary artery and aorta. Where are the following located? Tricuspid valve at the aperture between the right auricle and the right ventricle. Mitral valve on the left side of the heart. Pulmonary semilunar valves. এটা কোথায় located? At the opening of the right ventricle into the pulmonary artery. So tricuspid valve কোথায় আছে? At the aperture between right auricle and right ventricle. Mitral valve on the left side of the heart. Pulmonary semilunar valve কোথায় আছে? At the opening of the right ventricle into the pulmonary artery. Next question. Can you answer? Why one of the arteries shown in the given figure is blue in color? একটা figure আছে তাতে একটা pulmonary artery is shown in the figure is blue because it carries deoxygenated blood. Next question. Name the following. Contraction phase of heart, systole. The structure that holds the heart valves in position, chordae tendineae. Next question. Mention the phase of heartbeat in which both the atrioventricular valves are closed, joint diastole. Next, progress check. The first question. The veins have thin and less muscular walls and have pocket-shaped valves to prevent backflow of blood. Arteries carry blood to an organ and break up into arteriole ending in capillaries. Walls of capillaries consist of a single layer of squamous epithelial cells. The substances to and from the tissue diffuse through the walls of capillaries. Next question. Name the two major circulations of blood in the body, the short pulmonary circulation, the long systematic circulation. Next question. From where to where do the following blood vessels carry blood? Pulmonary artery from right ventricle to lungs. Posterior vena cava from lower body parts to right auricle. Renal artery from aorta to kidney. Hepatic vein from liver to posterior vena cava. Hepatic portal vein from stomach and intestine to liver. Define portal vein. A portal vein is one which starts with capillaries and ends in capillaries. Next question, what is pulse? Pulse is the alternate expansion and elastic recoil of the wall of the artery during ventricular systole. Next question, what are the normal values of blood pressure in human adult? 100 to 140 millimeter systolic and 60 to 80 millimeter diastolic. Which kind of cells are mostly found in lymph, lymphocytes and monocytes? List the three functions of lymph. Nutritive, drainage and absorptions. Nutritive কি আছে? Supplies nutrition and oxygen to those parts where blood cannot reach. Drainage কি আছে? It drains away excess tissue fluid and metabolites and returns proteins to the blood from tissue spaces. Absorption কি আছে? Fats from the intestine are absorbed through lymphatics. Next question, name the two main lymphatic organs in humans, tonsils and spleen. Name the following. The most numerous kind of leukocytes skin, neutrophils. Part of lymphatic system concerned with absorption of fats from the intestine, lacteals. Next question, a special lymphatic node on the sides of the neck, tonsils. Next question, agranulocytes are lymphocytes and monocytes. White blood corpuscles engulf bacteria in a process called phagocytosis. The nearest organ to which the heart supplies oxygenated blood is lung. When a doctor is recording your pulse, is pressing on your wrist exactly on on an artery হবে. Next question. The valve present between the right atrium and right ventricle is the tricuspid valve. Next, number 6. The blood vessel supplying blood to kidney is the renal artery. Number 7. Angina pectoris is due to chest pain due to inadequate supply of oxygen to the heart muscle. Number 8, the chief function of lymph nodes is to destroy pathogens. Number 9, heart sounds are produced due to closure of tricuspid and bicuspid valves. Next question, given below are certain structures, write the term for the functional activity. Blood platelets, coagulation, neutrophils, phagocytosis, erythrocytes transports oxygen to cells and tissues, lymphocytes, antibodies, bone marrow, production of blood corpuscles. Name the following. The cells which transport oxygen to different parts of human body, RBC. The cells that initiate blood clotting, blood platelets. Next question, name the following. Any one vein which starts from an organ and ends in another organ besides the heart. Hepatic portal vein, the kind of blood vessels which have no muscular walls, capillaries. An artery which carries impure or deoxygenated blood, pulmonary artery, the kind of blood vessels which can squeeze out through the walls of one category of blood vessels, WBCs. The smallest common blood vessel formed by the union of capillaries, venule. The blood vessels which start from capillaries and end in capillaries, portal vein. Uh, the phase of cardiac cycle in which the auricles contract are atrial systole. Next question, the valve present in between the chambers on the right side of the human heart, tricuspid valve. The phase of the cardiac cycle in which ventricles get filled with blood from the atrium, diastole. The fluid found between the membranes of the heart, pericardial fluid. Next question. The blood vessel that begins and ends in capillaries is the hepatic portal vein. A blood vessel which has small lumen and thick wall is artery. The blood valve which prevents backflow of blood in the veins and lymph vessels, semilunar valve. Next question. Note the relationship between the first two words and suggest the suitable word or words for the fourth place. লাভ যদি হয় তাহলে লাভ atrioventricular valves তাহলে ডাব সেমিলুনার valves. Coronary artery যদি হার্ট হয় তাহলে hepatic artery liver. Next question. Give reason why a matured mammalian erythrocyte lacks nucleus and mitochondria. Mammalian erythrocytes or RBCs are initially produced in the bone marrow with a nucleus, but after that they undergo a process known as enucleation, in which enucleation, in which their nucleus is removed. In fact, RBCs need to pass through very narrow blood vessels, thus having a biconcave disc-shaped structure. This shape is only possible when the nucleus and other organelles, including mitochondria, are absent. Next question. Enumerate the structural difference between white blood cells and red blood cells. White blood cells are irregular in shape, red blood cells are disc-shaped and biconcave. WBCs have nucleus, RBCs do not have nucleus. WBCs size range between 8 to 20 microns, the RBCs size range 7 to 8 microns. WBCs do not contain any pigment, RBCs contain pigment hemoglobin. WBCs, depending upon the presence or absence of granules in the cytoplasm, there are two types. Granulocytes and agranulocytes are RBC. No such division is there in RBC. Next question. Why is it necessary to know the blood groups before giving transfusion? In case of serious injuries and diseases with loss of blood in hemorrhages, but etc., sometimes it becomes necessary to inject blood into the body of patients. Then blood transfusion is the only method left to save the life of the person. Its transfusion helps to remove the threat and restore the normal vital activities of life. The blood of different individual varies. The antigen of donated blood may get attacked by the antibody of the recipient's blood plasma, causing the blood cells to clamp together. Often, in cases where the blood groups are not tested, transfusion becomes lethal. That is why it is necessary to know the blood groups before giving transfusion of blood. Next question. Differentiate between members of each of the following pairs with reference to the phrases in the back brackets. Antibodies আর antibiotics এর difference source এর উপর লিখতে দিয়েছে. Antibodies when disease causing germs gain entry into the bloodstream, the lymphocytes of the blood produce special proteinaceous substances called antibodies which kill or neutralize the germs or poisons from them. The antibodies act primarily as a defense against foreign substances. Antibiotics are chemical compounds used to kill or inhibit the growth of infectious organisms. The antibiotics are specific to the toxins for which they are produced. Penicillin is the most well known antibiotic and has been used to fight many infectious diseases. Next question. RBC and WBC structural difference. RBC are called erythrocytes formed by the process called erythropoiesis. These are minute biconcave disc-like structures, flat in the center and thick and rounded at the periphery. The size varies in diameter between 7 to 8 microns. There are about 5.5 million RBCs per cubic meter of blood. RBCs are specialized cells devoid of nucleus, mitochondria, and endoplasmic reticulum. RBCs contain a respiratory pigment called hemoglobin, which carries oxygen to the near needy tissues. The small size of RBCs enables them to travel through very fine capillaries in the body. The average life of an RBC is about 120 days. Their main function is to transport oxygen to the cells and blood tissues. Next question. Next, WBCs, also called leukocytes. WBCs are formed by the process called leukopoiesis. Erythropoiesis and leukopoiesis. Erythropoiesis is spelling ki ERYTHROPOIESIS. Are leukopoiesis LEUCOPOIESIS. They are colorless, irregularly shaped structures. They are much bigger in size than RBC. WBCs range in size from 8 to 20 microns. WBC's number is much less, usually about 4,000 to 8,000 per millimeter of blood. WBCs are nucleated cells. A nucleus is present in WBC. WBC do not contain hemoglobin. Most WBCs are amoeboid and can produce pseudopodia with which they can squeeze through the walls of the capillaries into the tissue. The lifespan of WBC is average about 2 weeks. Defense is the most essential function of WBCs. Next, serum. Serum is a clear yellowish liquid fluid that remains as a liquid portion of the blood after the clotting has taken place. It contains proteins, fats, sugar, waste materials, vitamins, fats, and hormones, but lack protein fibrinogen. Vaccine. Vaccine is a substance used to stimulate the production of antibodies, giving immunity against a disease by causing a mild form of it. Complete the following statement by filling the blank from choices given in the brackets. An anticoagulant present in the blood is heparin. Where does the term double circulation, what does the term double circulation means? From for one complete circulation, blood has to pass through the heart twice. Each time the blood leaves through a separate pathway. The short pulmonary circulation is between heart and lungs. The long systematic circulation is between heart and all parts of the body except the lungs. For this reason, the blood circulation in mammals is called double circulation. When are the sounds lub and dup produced during heartbeat? The sound lub is produced when antiventricular valves get closed sharply at the start of ventricular systole. The sound dup is produced when the semilunar valves at the root of aorta and pulmonary artery get closed at the beginning of ventricular diastole. Next question. Why do people have a common belief that heart is located in the left side of the chest? The heart is located in the center between the two lungs and above the diaphragm, but it is a common belief that the heart is located on the left side of the chest. It is failed so because the narrow end of the roughly triangular heart is pointed to the left side, and during working the contraction of heart is most powerful at this end, which gives a feeling of the heart being on the left side. Next question. Differentiate between members of each of the following pairs with reference to the aspect asked within brackets. Erythrocytes and leukocytes function. Erythrocytes. The primary function of erythrocytes is to carry oxygenated blood from lungs to the tissues around the body. As a secondary function, they are also a key player in getting waste carbon dioxide from various body tissues to lungs. Are leukocytes? Leukocytes are the cells of the immune system. They are involved in protecting the body against both infectious diseases and foreign invaders. Next question. Difference between artery and vein, direction of blood flow. Artery usually carries blood to various parts of the body away from heart. Vein usually carries blood from a part of the body towards the heart. এবার artery and vein type of blood primarily flowing through. Artery primarily carries oxygenated blood except pulmonary artery. Vein usually carries deoxygenated blood except pulmonary artery. এবার location. Tricuspid valves located at the aperture between the right auricle and right ventricle. Bicuspid valve located in a similar way on the left side of the heart. Next, match the items in column A with those of column B. Write the correct matching pair. SA node, pacemaker, defective hemoglobin in RBC, sickle cell anemia, muscle fibers located in the heart, Purkinje fibers. Next question, the liquid squeezed out of blood during clotting, serum. The never tries keep on contracting and relaxing. কি never, sorry, never tires, যে কখনো টায়ার্ড হয় না, যে কিপ অন কন্ট্রাক্টিং এন্ড রিল্যাক্সিং, এটা সবসময় কার্ডিয়াক মাসেল। এবার নেক্সট কোয়েশ্চেন, কার্ডিয়াক সাইকেল এটা কি 0.85 সেকেন্ড। নেক্সট কোয়েশ্চেন, লিকুইড পার্ট অফ দ্য ব্লাড উইদাউট কর্পাসেলস, প্লাজমা। Next, the table below is designed to indicate the transport of certain substances in our body. Fill in the blanks with suitable answers. Oxygen, সাবস্টেন্সটা হচ্ছে অক্সিজেন ফ্রম লাংস টু হোল বডি, কার্বন ডাইঅক্সাইড ফ্রম বডি সেলস টু লাংস, ইউরিয়া ফ্রম লিভার টু কিডনি, digested carbohydrates from intestine to liver, hormones from endocrine glands to target organs. Next question, long questions. What are the functions of blood plasma? Plasma is a straw colored liquid which comprises 60% of total blood. Nearly 90 to 92% of plasma is water, 7 to 8% are proteins, and the remaining 1% are inorganic salts like sodium chloride, potassium, magnesium, sodium bisulfate. Among other substances contained in plasma are glucose, amino acids, fibrinogen, hormones, urea, etc. The water acts as a solvent and suspending medium of the solid components of blood. It also absorbs, transports, and releases heat. The proteins maintain osmotic pressure of blood by retaining water. Next question, what are the main steps in coagulation of blood? When a blood vessel is cut, blood escapes from it, but soon a clot transformed on the wound and the flow of blood is stopped. Coagulation is a critical defense mechanism of the organism. It is a complete process involving a series of steps which are as follows. The injured tissue cells and blood platelets disintegrate at the site of wound and release of substance called thromboplastin, also called thrombokinase. Thromboplastin acts as an enzyme, and with the help of calcium ions present in plasma, the prothrombin of the plasma is converted to prothrombin active. Prothrombin inactive of the plasma is converted to prothrombin active. Thrombin reacts with soluble fibrinogen to make insoluble fibrin, which forms a thread-like sticky network. Blood corpuscles are trapped in a sticky fibrin network, which then sinks and shrinks and squeezes out the rest of the plasma in a form of clear liquid, the serum. The solid part left behind is called clot or thrombus. What are the following? Rh factor, universal donor, and diapedesis. Rh factor, rhesus factor, is a substance present in the red blood cells of most people. Such people are said to be rhesus positive. People who do not have this substance in their blood are said to be rhesus negative. When the blood of such individual rhesus mane Rh positive is transfused to person lacking in Rh negative, the blood of the recipient develops an antibody by blood transfusion. A universal donor key. A person who donates blood is called donor and the other who receives is called recipient. Before the transfusion, the blood of the donor and recipient must be tested. Persons with blood group O are termed as universal donors as their blood does not have any antigen and therefore this blood can be transfused to any individual without any adverse effect. Diapedesis. Most WBCs are amoeboid and can produce pseudopodia with which they can squeeze through the walls of capillaries into the tissues. This ability to pass through capillary walls is called diapedesis. Next question. Is it possible for the blood to clot under the skin? Give reason in support of your answer. It is not possible for the blood to clot under the skin because the coagulating factors remain inactive in the blood. Anticoagulants like heparin are present in the blood. Heparin is a naturally occurring anticoagulant produced by basophilic erythroleucocytes. The endothelium of the blood vessels is intact. Next question, state 5 functions of the blood. Transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Blood transport oxygen from respiratory surfaces to the tissues and carbon dioxide from tissues to respiratory surfaces and thus helps in respiration. Oxygen enters the blood through lungs and carbon dioxide is eliminated from blood mainly through lungs. About transport of food. Blood carries soluble food from intestine first to liver and then to the whole of the tissues when it is required for cellular activities. The nutritive substances transported by the blood are glucose, amino acids, polypeptides, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water. Transport of waste products. Waste products are being constantly produced by all of the cells of body as they are harmful to the body. Therefore, they require immediate elimination. Blood transports these wastes to the kidneys, lungs, skin, and intestine so that they may be eliminated. Chemical coordination. Endocrine glands of the body produce hormones which are distributed by blood to vital tissues and in various ways they harmonize or coordinate the working of the body. Maintenance of pH. The plasma proteins of blood act as a buffer system and thus prevent any shift of in pH of the blood. This is because amphoteric property of proteins. This is because of amphoteric property of proteins. Next question. The diagram given alongside represents the human heart in one phase. Study the same and then answer. Study the same and answer the questions. Name the phase. Ventricular systole. Which part of the heart is contracting in this phase? Ventricles region. Both the ventricles contract and auricles are relaxed and cuspid valves closed and semilunar valves open. Question number C. Name the parts numbered from 1 to 6. Pulmonary artery, aorta, pulmonary vein, left atrium, mitral or cuspid valve or right ventricle. Next question. Which type of blood flows through parts marked in 1 and 2 respectively? Part 1. Deoxygenated blood flows to lungs. Part 2. Oxygenated blood flows to body parts. Next, number E. How many valves are closed in this phase? 2. Tricuspid and bicuspid valves. Study the following diagram carefully and then answer the questions that follow. এটা phagocytosis হচ্ছে মনে হচ্ছে না. Name the cell labeled in 1. RBC. Identify the phenomena occurring in A. WBC. না. আর name the cell labeled 1. RBC আর আর ডাব্লিউবিসি দুটো সেল আছে আরবিসি আর ডাব্লিউবিসি আইডেন্টিফাই দ্য ফেনোমেনা অকারিং ইন এ diapedesis. Mention two structural difference between 1 and 2. আর হচ্ছে red blood cells আর 2 হচ্ছে white blood cells. Red blood corpuscles are enucleated while WBCs are nucleated. Red blood corpuscles are red in color as they have hemoglobin, whereas WBCs are not because they do not contain hemoglobin. Now, name the process occurring in B and C and state the importance of the process in human body. This shows to fight infection by means of phagocytosis by engulfing the germs. Given below, next question. Given below is a diagrammatic representation of certain types of blood vessels of human body. Identify the types of blood vessels number 1 to 5. Arterioles, venules, artery, venlets. Next question. Where can an arrangement be found in an example in lungs or in heart valves? In heart valves. Next question. The diagram below represents the simplified pathways of circulation of blood. Study the same and answer the questions that follow. Name the blood vessels level from 1 to 1 হচ্ছে superior vena cava, 2 aorta. State the functional blood vessels level 5 and আচ্ছা superior vena cava, aorta, pulmonary artery, pulmonary vein artery, hepatic portal vein, হেপাটিক পোর্টাল হেপাটিক আচ্ছা এরম আছে সুপিরিয়র ভেনা কাভা অ্যাওটা পালমোনারি আর্টারি আবার পালমোনারি ভেইন আর্টারি হেপাটিক পর্টাল ভেইন হেপাটিক ভেইন ইনফিরিয়র অর ভেনা কাভা মানে এই যে ব্লাড ভেসেল গুলো লেবেল করা আছে সবকটা superior vena cava, aorta, pulmonary artery, pulmonary vein artery, hepatic portal vein, hepatic vein, আর inferior or vena cava। এবার বলছে superior, এবার কোয়েশ্চেনটা হচ্ছে নেম দ্য ভেসেলস লেবেলড 1 and 2, superior vena cava and aorta, and state the function of blood vessels level 5 and 8. Hepatic vein starts with capillaries and ends in capillaries. Inferior vena cava carry impure blood from lower parts of the body. Next, what is the importance of blood vessel level 6? It levels importance of blood vessel level 6. It collect blood from stomach and intestine and pour into the liver. Or which blood vessel will contain a high amount of glucose and amino acids after a meal? Hepatic portal vein. Draw a diagram of the different blood cells as seen in a smear of hepatic human blood. এটা কতগুলো ছবি এঁকেছে, বা distinguish between serum and defibrinated blood. The straw-colored liquid that squeezes out from solid mass of clot is called serum. It is a blood without fibrinogen and corpuscles. If fresh blood is stirred with twig, fibrin is formed and collects on the twig instead of forming a clot. The liquid left behind contains serum and corpuscles only. This blood from which only fibrin has been removed is called defibrinated blood. Next question. Nearly 90% of plasma is water. Mention two functions of water present in the blood. The water acts as a solvent and suspending medium for the solid components of blood. It absorbs, transports, and releases heat. Next question. Mention two ways by which stored blood can be prevented from clotting. Chemicals like sodium citrate and sodium oxalate are added to lock the Ca2 plus and prevent the more blood from clotting. Next, name a chemical substance formed by the blood that converts prothrombin into thrombin, thromboplastin. The compounds formed when carbon dioxide combines with hemoglobin of the blood, carbaminohemoglobin. Next question. The type of leukocyte concerned mainly with the production of antibodies, lymphocytes. A constituent of blood that initiates the clotting process, platelets. The blood group that is universal donor, O. The blood group that has no antigens, O. The pigment in blood of crabs that imparts a bluish tinge to the blood, hemocyanin. Next question. The disease caused due to an abnormal increase in RBC count, polycythemia. The process by which red blood cells are formed, erythropoiesis. The biochemist who first proposed the idea of blood groups, Karl, Karl, Karl Land, Landsteiner, Landsteiner, Erythropoiesis, erythropoiesis. Mention two protective and two regulatory functions of the blood. Protecting functions, production of antibodies. Certain components of the blood possess the ability to produce antibodies which can neutralize bacteria and bacterial products. Phagocytosis, certain blood cells are phagocytic. For example, they can engulf and destroy the harmful foreign organisms entering the body. About regulatory functions, the body temperature, normal body temperature is maintained through the rapid distribution of water content of the blood, which has heat absorbing and coolant properties. pH balance, the blood maintains highly alkaline nature through buffers. Next question, complete the following table. Blood type A, antigens on RBC-A, antibodies in plasma anti-B, may donate to A or AB, may receive from O or A. এবার ব্লাড টাইপ বি যখন, তখন অ্যান্টিজেন অন আরবিসিটা কি বি, অ্যান্টিবডিজ অন প্লাজমা কি অ্যান্টি এ, মে ডোনেট টু কাকে কাকে ডোনেট করতে পারে, ব্লাড টাইপ যদি বি হয় বি আর এ বি কে ডোনেট করতে পারে, রিসিভ কার কার কাছ থেকে করতে পারে ও আর বি থেকে। যখন ব্লাড টাইপ এ হয় তখন তার অ্যান্টিজেন অন আরবিসিটা এ হয়, অ্যান্টিবডিজ অন প্লাজমা হয় অ্যান্টি বি। ডোনেট করতে পারে কাকে কাকে যখন ব্লাড টাইপ এ হয়, এ আর এ বি কে, আর রিসিভ করতে পারে ও আর এ থেকে। আর বি হলে, ব্লাড টাইপ বি হলে রিসিভ করতে পারে ও আর বি থেকে, আর ডোনেট করতে পারে বি আর এ বি কে। এবার ব্লাড টাইপ এবি যখন হয়, অ্যান্টিজেনস অন আরবিসি কি হয়, এবি। অ্যান্টিবডিজ ইন প্লাজমা নান। মে ডোনেট টু এবি, মে রিসিভ ফ্রম, কার কার কাছ থেকে এবি নিতে পারে, এ, মানে ও, এ, বি আর এবি থেকে। এবার ব্লাড টাইপ যখন ও হয়, অ্যান্টিজেন অন আরবিসি নান। অ্যান্টিবডিজ ইন প্লাজমা কি হয়, অ্যান্টি এ অ্যান্টি বি। মে ডোনেট টু ও, এ, বি আর এবি, may receive from O. Ever name the three liquids that circulate in the body. Blood contained in the heart and in blood vessels, arteries, veins, capillaries of the circulatory system. Tissue occupying spaces between cells in the organs, and lymph contained with lymph vessels and lymphatic organs such as spleen and tonsils. Mention three ways in which blood tends to maintain a steady state in our body. Various chemicals must be composition of tissue fluid. Various chemicals must be maintained in proper concentration. This should be neither in excess and in short supply. These should neither be in excess or in short supply. About body temperature. Body temperature has to be maintained within a very narrow limit. Water content. If the tissue fluid is too concentrated, it draws water from cells by exosmosis and the body gets dehydrated. If tissue fluid is too dilute, the cells would take up water by endosmosis. Next question. If a person having blood group A is given blood transfusion of blood group B by mistake, what will be its effect and why? The person with blood group A has antigen A in blood group corpuscles, red blood corpuscles, and antibody B in plasma. A person with blood group B has antigen in red blood corpuscles and antibody A in plasma. If blood group A is transferred to a person with blood group B, the clumping of red blood corpuscles, mane agglutination occurs. This clumping blocks the small blood vessels and prevents the free flow of blood. Later, these agglutinated red blood cells disintegrate and liberate hemoglobin into the blood, which is taken to the kidneys for excretion. The hemoglobin, being insoluble in water, blocks and damages the delicate nephrons of the kidneys and result in stoppage of formation of urine. It leads to death. Next question, describe what is blood pressure. Describe what is blood pressure. The force exerted by blood against the walls of blood vessels is known as blood pressure. In the circulatory system, it depends upon the change of circulatory space as a result of contraction, relaxation of the heart and blood vessels, amount of blood entering and leaving blood vessels, total blood volume, viscosity of blood, elasticity of blood vessels. The maximum blood pressure in arteries. The maximum blood pressure in arteries during systole is called systolic arterial pressure, while the minimum blood pressure during diastole is called diastolic pressure. The difference between the two pressures is termed as pulse pressure. In an adult man, systolic blood pressure is 100 to 140 millimeter, while that of diastolic blood pressure is 55 to 88 millimeter of mercury. Due to the blood pressure, the blood reaches all parts of our body. The blood pressure may be determined by observing the applied external pressure necessary to collapse the artery in the left upper left arm. It is recorded on mercury manometer called sphygmomanometer. High blood pressure, pain, emotion, stress generally all tend to increase blood pressure. High pressure is called hypertension. It is common in persons suffering from kidney diseases, strain, extra work, and heart diseases. Low blood pressure may drop to a dangerously low level during general anesthesia, surgical shock, or several hemorrhage. Next question, give reasons for the following. A strong bloodstream comes out when an artery is cut. In arteries, blood is at high pressure. এই কারণে a strong bloodstream comes out when an artery is cut. পরেরটার কি question, the pulse rate increases while running, কেন? The heartbeat increases because the heart has to pump more blood to legs and other parts for doing extra work for running. Next, the questionটা কি, the face of a healthy man shines and looks light pink. The face of a healthy man gets proper supply of blood and hence it does not look pale like that of an anemic person who lacks blood in his body. The color of our body is red due to hemoglobin present in it. Next question. Blood clotting is a chemical reaction. Explain. How does blood clot? What is the advantage of this for the animals? Clotting of blood flowing through blood vessels does not coagulate due to the presence of heparin and anticoagulant. As soon as there is any damage of tissue anywhere in the body, the blood coagulates at that point and plugs the wound only outside the blood vessel. There is a substance, prothrombin, always present in the blood, which gives rise to an enzyme, thrombin. Beside prothrombin, fibrinogen and calcium ions are also present in the blood. Thromboplastin is present in tissues and more especially in lungs and brain. Whenever a blood tissue vessel or thrombocyte is damaged, thromboplastin is produced from platelets and injured tissue on the site of wound. The thromboplastin then acts on prothrombin in the presence of calcium ions to convert into thrombin, which in turn catalyzes the change of proteins and fibrinogen into fibrin. The fibrin forms insoluble fine threads which weave together to form a reticulum in which blood cells are trapped and pale yellow liquid, the serum, separates. Thus, the blood coagulates or clots in a few minutes. It stops flowing. The reaction can be demonstrated as given below. Thromboplastin plus prothrombin gives thrombin. আর ওই অ্যারোর উপর কি থাকবে? ওই গিভসের অ্যারোর উপর ক্যালসিয়াম অ্যান্ড আয়ন ফ্রম ব্লাড. The clotting of blood is highly important as it stops bleeding, otherwise the animal would die. Human blood escaping from some injury normally clots within 3 to 4 minutes. Heat accelerates blood clotting and cold sharply slows it down. What is blood plasma? Plasma is a pale straw colored fluid occupying about one half of the total blood volume. It is about 90 to 92% water and 8 to 10% solids. The solid part of plasma consists of কি কি থাকে, ব্লাড প্রোটিন 7%, কি তার মধ্যে কি কি থাকে, ফর এক্সাম্পল প্রোথ্রম্বিন, ফাইব্রিনোজেন, অ্যালবুমিন, গ্লোবিউলিন এটসেট্রা। আর কি থাকে, ফুডসটা কি এন্ড প্রোডাক্টস অফ ডাইজেশন, for example glucose, amino acids, lily substances which are to be lily substances which are to be transported to different body cells. Next, mineral salts are in the form of ions. Kiki ions, Na plus, Cl minus, Mg plus plus, Ca plus plus, HCO3 minus, bicarbonates এগুলো। এবার excretory products are especially urea, hormones released by endocrine glands in minute quantities, gases, small traces of oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen dissolved in plasma, antibodies and antitoxins এইগুলো থাকে হচ্ছে blood প্লাজমাতে। The solid part of plasma consists of এইগুলো, যে blood protein, food, mineral salts, excretory products, hormones, gases, antibodies and antitoxins. এবার পরের question, what is blood? Blood is a specialized kind of living fluid connective tissue of opaque red color of alkaline reaction, salty in taste. Its specific gravity is 1.050 to 1.060. The blood contains a fluid, the plasma and the solid part, two corpuscles. What is next question? What is the total volume of blood in our body? How will the various psychological process be affected by the body loses half the total volume of blood? Our body contains 5 liters of blood. Blood is the transport agency of various essential substances in the body. If its volume is halved in the body, all the functions performed by it will be disturbed. The oxygen supply to the cells will be reduced, with the result that lesser amount of energy will be produced and the body will be weak and exhausted. এবার লিউকোসাইটস কি লিউকোসাইটস আর is the other name of WBC. They are also called blood platelets. They are one of cellular elements of the blood. Their main function is to protect the body from foreign bodies as well as pathogens. Leukocytes are of different shapes and sizes. They are all nucleated. There are about 6,000 to 1 lakh white blood corpuscles per cubic millimeter of blood of healthy person. In case of infection, the number increases. Leukocytes are actively motile, and by virtue of this, their shape changes. Leukocytes are produced in the lymph nodes or in red bone marrow. Length of their active life varies from 2 to 3 weeks. Next question: in what way does blood entering the kidney differ from that leaving the kidney? The blood entering the kidney contains excretory substances such as uric acid. These substances are removed from the blood in the kidney, and the blood is pure when it leaves the kidney. What is the importance of circulatory system? Circulatory system supplies food substances and oxygen to all the body cells and removes waste formed in them. In addition, this system transports hormones to various parts of the body and help to regulate body temperature in warm blooded animals. Next question: why valves are present in veins and absent in arteries? Valves are present in the walls of veins to check the backflow of blood, while the arteries blood directly comes from the heart at high pressure. Next question: write the function of blood platelets, clotting of blood. Attack the function. Next question: what is likely to happen when man whose blood pressure falls in low normal? What will happen if it rises? Blood pressure is the pressure exerted by the blood on the walls of the arteries. Following complications are likely to happen in case of low blood pressure. The body becomes weak and the person feels dejected. The less amount of urine is released by the kidneys, or sometimes kidneys do not work properly, মানে kidney failure. ও লো ব্লাড প্রেশারেও কিডনি ফেলিওর হয়ে যেতে পারে? The person having low pressure feels giddiness, feels as his heart is sinking. The pulse becomes weak and falls. এবার following complications arise in case of high blood pressure. There are chances of heart failure, liver becomes enlarged. হাই ব্লাড প্রেশার হলে লিভার বড় হয়ে যায়, heart failure হয়ে যায়, hands and feet swell up, chances of kidney failure. A patient suffer from hypertensive retinopathy. It may lead to cerebral hemorrhage. বাহ! Which mineral gives red color to the blood? And it is a part of hemoglobin. Which part of the two RBC or WBC constitute the defense system of the body? WBC. How are antibodies produced in the body? Describe the types of lymphocytes which produce the antibodies. Antibodies are produced by lymphocytes in response to antigens and their products. Lymphocytes are of two types: B lymphocytes, T lymphocytes. Baba, B lymphocytes. These lymphocytes are produced in bone marrow after passing through Peyer's patches. Peyer apostrophe S. Peyer's patches. Patches. Peyer. Peer apostrophe S. Peyer's patches. They come to patches. Patches. They come to lie in lymph nodes. But T lymphocytes key. These lymphocytes are produced in bone marrow and after passing through thymus gland, they reach the lymph nodes. Next question. State 2 points of difference between antibody and antigen, WBC and RBC, artery and vein. Antigen. It is a foreign substance. Antibody. It is a chemical proteinaceous substance. এবার antigen কি? When introduced in the blood, it stimulates antibody formation. Antibody কি? It is formed in the body in response to the antigen, which are such as bacterial toxins. Next question. WBC, it is a nucleus. RBC does not have a nucleus. WBC has no hemoglobin and is irregularly shaped. RBC has hemoglobin and definite shape. Artery has thick muscular coat and narrow lumen. Vein has thin muscular coat and wide lumen. Artery pulsates as it takes blood away from heart. Vein ki it has hemoglobin and definite shape. Next question. Give brief comments on the following statement. Abnormally large number of RBC in the blood is usually an indication of some infection in our body. When diseases causing microbes invade certain parts of our body, when a WBCs rapidly move to the site of infection and collect in large numbers to fight against the microbes by means of phagocytosis. In some powerful microbes cannot be in some powerful microbes cannot be destroyed by WBCs. Then the white blood cells begin to form antibodies called agglutinins. Agglutinins. Options ki opponins, lysins ki. If some powerful microbes cannot be destroyed by RBC, the WBC, then the white blood cells begin to form antibodies called agglutinins, opponins, lysins, or may produce antitoxins to destroy the toxin. বলছে যদি পাওয়ারফুল মাইক্রোবস ডিস্ট্রয় না হয় ডাব্লিউবিসির দ্বারা, তখন হোয়াইট ব্লাড সেলস বিগিন টু ফর্ম অ্যান্টিবডিজ। তখন হোয়াইট ব্লাড সেলগুলো কটা অ্যান্টিবডি ফর্ম করতে শুরু করে দেয়। তাদের নামগুলো হচ্ছে, সেই অ্যান্টিবডির ভালো ভালো তিনটে নাম আছে: AGGU, ALU, TININS, অ্যাগুলুটিনিনস। অ্যাগিউলুটিনিনস। আর আরেকটার নাম হচ্ছে অপোনিনস, OPONINS। আরেকটার নাম হচ্ছে লাইসিনস, LYSINS, অর মে প্রডিউস, যাই হোক, এটা তিনটে নাম। What is the function of red blood cell? Red blood cells contain an iron protein compound called hemoglobin, which has great affinity for oxygen. In high concentration of it combines with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin, an unstable compound. In the tissues, this compound splits, giving up oxygen and becomes hemoglobin once again. RBCs are the carriers of oxygen from air in the lungs to the tissue of the body. Next, name an organism whose one function is to procure and supply blood to needy victims of natural calamity. Blood bank. Next question. In organisms, beside food and oxygen, what else is transported? Water, mineral in case of plants, and carbon dioxide, hormones, vitamins, and metabolic wastes in case of animals. Next question. Name the components of circulatory system. Blood, lymph vessels are heart. Next question. Write important constituents of blood. Blood plasma, RBC, WBC, platelets. Next question. Where are the RBCs formed? They are formed in the bone marrow and also in spleen. Next, short answer type questions. State one function of antitoxins. Antitoxins are produced by antibodies so that they can neutralize the harmful and poisonous toxins that are secreted by invading diseases causing microbes. Next question. State one important difference between artery and vein. Veins are valves in them, while arteries do not possess valves. Veins have valves in them, আর artery valve থাকে না। Name a vein in the body that carries oxygenated blood. Pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood. Which blood vessel possesses valves and why? Veins carry valves in them to prevent the backflow of blood from the blood vessels. Next, red blood cells transport oxygen in the body by forming oxyhemoglobin. Anemia is caused by shortage of RBC. RBC are produced in the bone marrow of long bones, sternum, and ribs. RBC কোথায় produced? Bone marrow of long bones, sternum se আর ribs se. Next, name an organism which destroys RBC in bloodstream. The malarial parasite Plasmodium vivax destroys RBC in bloodstream. Next question. State two ways in which white blood cells help in controlling disease. White blood cell help in controlling disease by engulfing the invading disease causing microbes by means of phagocytosis. WBCs produce antibodies which affect the invading microbes or the toxins which they produce. Next question. What are white blood cells? Where are white blood cells produced? White blood cells are produced in the lymph nodes and bone marrow. Next, what is the main function of WBC? They protect the body from infection and diseases. Name an artery which carries impure body oxygenated blood, pulmonary artery. Name the vein that enters the liver, hepatic portal vein. Which kind of blood vessel is responsible for the detection of pulse? An artery. Name two anticoagulants of blood of man, heparin or antiprothrombin. Next question. Define the following terms. Blood clotting, conversion of blood, liquid blood jelly, occurring when blood vessels are injured, prevents escape of blood. Next question. Blood corpuscles. Blood corpuscles, cells which circulate in blood plasma, RBC and WBC. এবার blood plasma কি? Blood from which all blood corpuscles of cells in mammalian blood. কি? Blood from which all blood corpuscles of cells in mammalian blood. Blood platelets, minute bodies, probably fragments of cells in mammalian blood. এবার ব্লাড ভেসেলস কি? দে আর blood vessels are tubes of endothelial linings having blood in it. They are arteries, veins, capillaries. Number 6, lymphocyte, a type of WBC with a very large nucleus rich in DNA and small amount of clear cytoplasm. Next question. Anemia, a deficiency disease caused by deficiency of iron which causes deficiency of hemoglobin, RBC. Next, number 8, antigen, the substance that causes the formation of antibodies. Next question. Describe the functions of lymph. It acts as the medium of or transport of digested food, gas, hormones, enzymes, etc. Lymph maintains the equilibrium of osmotic pressure outside and inside the cell. Lymph carries carbon dioxide and other excretory materials from tissues to blood capillaries. Lymphs protect the body through phagocytosis. Lymphs help in absorption of fat in small intestine. Next, state the function of flowing part of heart. Human heart. Tricuspid valve prevents the blood to flow back from right ventricle to right auricle. Bicuspid valve prevents the flow of blood from left auricle to left ventricle. Semilunar valves prevent the backflow of blood from pulmonary artery by to right ventricle. Pulmonary artery takes the blood from right ventricle to the lungs. Next question. Given below is a highly diagrammatic representation of internal structure of heart. এগুলো লিখেছে লেবেলিং গুলো ভেনা কাভা পালমোনারি ভেইন বাইকাস্পিড ভালভ অ্যাওটা সেমিলুনার ভালভ লেফট ভেন্ট্রিকেল রাইট ভেন্ট্রিকেল পালমোনারি আর্টারি সেমিলুনার আর্টারি ট্রাইকাস্পিড ভালভ রাইট আর্ট্রিয়াম লেফট আর্ট্রিয়াম ডটেড arrows show the direction of flow of blood or write the name of any one part of internal structure which is not shown in the diagram. Muscle দেখানো নেই ডায়াগ্রামটাতে. Name the valves which are shown closed and those which are open. Right and left atrioventricular valve are open and pulmonary semilunar valves and aortic semilunar valves are closed. What is the full form of ECG? Echo electrocardiogram. Importance: it is the record of an electrical behavior of heart and remains constant in a normal case. It shows variation in case of defect. Doctor use ECG for detection of various heart diseases. Write the normal values of pulse rate. Pulse rate 72, systolic blood pressure 100 to 140. Why valves are present in veins and absent in arteries? Valves are present in walls of veins to check the backflow of blood, while in arteries the flow of blood is regulated by forceful pumping of blood by the heart. Next question. What is the approximate size and weight of heart of man? Size of heart, its size is of person's fist. হাতের মুঠোর মত সাইজের. Weight about 300 grams. Describe the function of valves in the heart. The most important function of valves present in the heart is to control the flow of blood in a particular direction. What are the various types of immunity? Natural, acquired, natural or innate, inborn immunity. Acquired or adaptive immunity is further of two types: acquired immunity, active acquired immunity, passive acquired immunity. What is phagocytosis? Process by which white blood cells engulf bacteria and other pathogens by flowing around them and finally digesting them so as to defend the body. Next question: how many times per day does the heart beat? 72 into 60 into 25 4, 72 into 60 into 24, মানে 1,03,680, that is more than 1 lakh times per day. Look at the picture, answer the questions. The blood vessel shown in A is capillary. A capillary is composed of single layer of endothelial cells. A capillary is so thin walled as it allows the diffusion of water, gases, and some soluble substances. Two kinds of blood vessels are red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles. By means of amoeboid movement, the white blood cell is squeezing out through the intercellular spaces in the capillary wall. The white blood cells then engulf the infecting microbes by process of phagocytosis and finally destroy and digest the microbes. This activity helps to fight infection by germs. Next, the diagram given alongside represents a certain category of blood vessels, showing the role of special structure in the walls. The blood vessels shown in the diagram represent veins. আচ্ছা তারপরে হচ্ছে structure inside the blood vessel are valves. Role of valves is to prevent the backflow of blood as it flows against the force of gravity. Valves are present in the heart and veins only. The heart is located at the top of the figure. Explain the main function of mitral valve. Mitral valve is also called bicuspid valve, allows only one way flow of blood from left auricle to left ventricle. Next, the following figure shows some blood vessels close to cell. Name X and Y. X is arteriole, Y is venule. The arteriole B brings oxygenated blood to the cells. The oxygen gets consumed and the blood that passes into Y is having more of carbon dioxide. The blood also carries the products produced in the cells. Next, define the following terms. Heartbeat. The muscular contraction of the heart regular. The cardiac tissue supplies a current of energy which passes over the heart muscles causing it to contract. Then it relaxes at short interval. This contraction relaxation occurs through life without pause and fatigue and is called pulsation or heartbeat. Systole. Systole is a wave of contraction. In systole, the heart volume reduces by contraction of upper and lower chamber of the heart. Thus, the blood is forcefully pumped into the arterial vessels to be sent to all parts of the body. Diastole is a period of rest and relaxation that lasts for zero point 0.4 seconds. The volume of the heart becomes normal so that the venous vessels returning from various parts of the body pour their blood into the heart. Next, the cardiac cycle. এটা হচ্ছে diastole period of rest and relaxation that lasts for 0.4 seconds. The volume of the heart becomes normal so that the venous vessels returning from various parts of the body pour their blood into the heart. The cardiac cycle. Next, the cardiac cycle. Different parts of heart pulsate one after the other in a fixed sequence. The sequence of one systole followed by one diastole is called cardiac cycle. It is a period from the end of one to the end of next heartbeat. Lymphatic system key, a series of vessels that associate lymph nodes that transport lymph from tissue fluids into the bloodstream and heart. Next, pulmonary circulation is the circulation of deoxygenated blood from right ventricle by the pulmonary artery to the right lungs, where it is oxygenated and sent back through pulmonary veins into the left auricle. Next question, systematic circulation is the circulation of oxygenated blood from left ventricle to the dorsal aorta, which supplies different body organs, collects the deoxygenated blood by veins which empty into the right auricle.